Okie dokie, acing your job interview. These are what's called soft skills. There's Moti. Hi, Moti. Nice to see your face. Um, it makes a really big difference. You could have all the skills in the world and be even a team player, a very successful person. If you can't communicate that in a job interview, you won't get a job. And we've had that. We've had some students who are really good on the technical side and they were able to do stuff, but they didn't have the people skills to show up sort of for the job interview and they couldn't do it. So actually a lot of our students are dafka better at the people skills than some of the technical skills. And that is one of the things that the employers know. We're bringing people who are like whole people and they have personalities. They're not just geeks or, really nerdy techno robots or something. But everybody has to give thought to this, and preparation we're going to see is a big part of it. And then you want to bring your best self to the game. The book that I told you I used is from Yates, and he has knock 'em dead interviews. And I'm going to encourage you to Google and to learn more about this on your own. Um, but one of my favorite sayings that he has is, people say, "Oh, be yourself," and he says, "No, be your best professional self." So you want to come and bring your best game. You want to be your best professional self. Think about what that means. How would your best professional self dress and behave, and what would they say, and so forth, and be that person. So let's get into it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about corporate culture, because there's for sure a gap between the quote corporate culture of Beis Yaakov or yeshiva versus what you're going to find in a cyber company. So that's important to realize that you're going into new territory, and just the way people behave and what they talk about and expectations are different. Then we're going to talk in detail about job interview skills, and it's mostly going to be take home work on sample cyber job interview questions. And just like, everything else you study in this course, there's a real lot on Google and YouTube, particularly, where if you go into YouTube and you do sample cybersecurity job interview questions, they'll give you 10 or 15 questions and they'll say what they're going to ask you and they'll teach you how you should answer. So you need to invest in that and make sure you are polished on those things and have given that thought and preparation. So let's go. Okay. So again, I've told you I'm welcoming you to the work world because it is a different world. We don't live in the work world, and especially a lot of people in our course, if they're younger people or wherever you're coming from. But if you're not coming from, a 9 to 5 work culture, so it is different. But cybersecurity particularly is a very specific culture. And the culture, it's not a formal culture. It's not like you're going to be in a law firm and everybody's going to wear a suit. That's not the culture of cyber. It's an informal, but there's a lot of toughness. It's a paramilitary culture. People are coming from the military or the intelligence services, and there's a war going on. Sadly enough, there's really a war going on in Israel. But even when there's no real hot war going on, there's always war in the world of cyber. There's cyber war going on. And so whether you're working for a bank or a cyber company or whoever you're working for, it's not a joke. The people are stealing money and ruining lives. And so you're coming in here as a defender, essentially as a soldier. I wrote here as a hired gun. So I'm not saying you're a mercenary exactly, but you're a professional who people are going to be relying on to defend them. Or maybe you're on the red team, so you'll be attacking. But the point is, it's not warm and fuzzy. It's there's a certain toughness about it, a seriousness about it. It doesn't mean they don't have fun or are not nice to each other, because that's not true. But I'm just saying that you're entering, a quasi-military environment, and so you should think of yourself as, when you go to a job interview, that you're interviewing to become a specialized and trained soldier. But that's sort of the mental toughness that you need. And I remind everybody, between the difference between personal values and professional values, because personal values, life for a firm person is about Shabbos and Yantif and your children and Talmud Torah and a lot of beautiful values that we share. But at a job interview, if they talk to you about values, those are not the kind of things you want to talk about, because work isn't about family or Shabbos or Yantif or making enough money to marry off your kids. Work is about making money for the company. And so you're applying to become part of a team as a trained professional to help the company make money and be more efficient and to solve problems. So you want to keep clarity about that, about your professional values, and not get confused and tell a soft personal story, because that's really not appropriate. Okay. Okay, this is something funny. A lot of times we say, well, it's not about the money. And he says, when somebody says it's not about the money, it's about the money. Okay. And of course, in business, it's about the money. Like if you want to go play golf or read a book or go to Beis Midrash or say Tehillim, that's wonderful. But work's not about those things. Work's about making money and providing services and so forth. So you have to keep focused on that, especially bosses. Bosses care a lot about money, because that's their job. It's not always their money. Sometimes it's their money. They're the head and the owner of the company. And sometimes it's, a publicly held company or it's held by, shareholders. But they're very serious about not wasting money and using their money wisely. So you have to sort of, sharpen that in your head, that people care a lot about money. And in a professional environment, there's nothing wrong with that. That is appropriate. That's why we're getting together. To work together is to make money for shareholders and, to defend people's money and so forth. So maybe, you think money is grub, it's ugly, it's dirty, it's low, whatever. But you have to sort of put that aside and realize that in business, money is very, very important. Here, I put in some things that you're going to meet all different kinds of people in job interviews and in working in general. And I wrote, there's all kinds of people. Some are high IQ and low EQ. EQ is your emotional intelligence. So, particularly in a technical field like cyber, you may meet some really smart technical people and they can barely say hello to you, right? They don't have a smile for you and they don't have much emotional intelligence. And you have to, just work with them and, keep it dry and to the point. And some people are jerks, and that's also part of the work world, right? When you're, if you're in Shidduchim and in your family, you hope that the people are wonderful people and you're looking for people with midos tovos. But you're coming into a work environment, there may be some jerks there, and they're allowed to be there because they're really good at their job. And so even though nobody likes jerks, but if you're the boss and you're running a company, so sometimes technical skills, trump, personality. And so there are some annoying people who don't really understand how to behave and how to treat you with respect. And you just sort of have to suck it up. You just have to overlook that. And especially, I'm thinking now of one of my daughters-in-law. She goes to Tel Aviv once or twice a week, and she's a real smart computer programmer. And some of the people she works with, they have no clue about her values and how to avoid offending her. And they're sort of jerks, but she just deals with that because you have to deal with that. You can't let it get to you. So I wrote here a helpful tip: bosses and nephews care about money. I had a good story where my brother-in-law and sister, they wanted to meet their nephew, not one of mine, another nephew, and he was a college kid. So how much does a college kid care about meeting aunts and uncles? Not very much. So they wrote him a WhatsApp, "We'd love to get together with you," and he sort of ignored it. And then they wrote him a WhatsApp, "We'd love to get together with you," and they put dollar signs in it, meaning they'll give him $100, like a nice uncle gives to a nephew. So a college kid for $100, they'll get together with an aunt and uncle. So money talks. So you have to realize that. Okay, enough about this. Okay, this is a great story. Actually, I wrote about this before the movie came out. I call it A Tale of Two Geniuses. There's a movie that came out, Oppenheimer. Oh, Arlie Bert. I wrote here, even if you're a genius, you still need to make the sale to get hired. And so Oppenheimer, of course, he managed the Manhattan Project that produced the atomic bomb for the United States of America and really ended World War II in the Pacific against the Japanese. And he was, both these men that I have in this slide, Oppenheimer and this guy named Langan. They're huge geniuses, like people, their IQ, yeah, between 195 and 210. Okay, so totally off the charts smart in terms of brain power. And both of them are sort of crazy. Um, but Oppenheimer, essentially, we're going to call him a winner because he knew how to get what he wanted and had enough social skills that he could convince people that I'm the man for the job. And so there was this army general who's hiring, a technical genius to lead the Manhattan Project. And Oppenheimer was not a good manager, and he had tried to kill someone. He had a bad record, and his girlfriend was a communist. Okay, so this is in the middle of World War II, and we're against the Russians, whatever. So he had a bunch of strikes against him, but he was able to get the job because of his social skills. He grew up in Manhattan. He went to the School of Ethical Culture, so he knew how to make things happen. This other guy, Langan, who I think he's still living. Again, he has this giant IQ, but his mother had 3 different husbands, and the one he grew up with was abusive. So he hates all authority. So he can't keep a job, or he can't do anything basically working with other people. He's too angry and hurt. He's like a broken vessel. And so he's basically done nothing with his life. He's written a few smart articles, but he can't work with other people. And so that greatly limits him. So he's a horse rancher. Like that's what he does. So my point here is that even if you're a genius, you need to use people skills to get yourself into a company. Okay, we're getting now closer to the actual stuff. Turning your job interviews into job offers. And so your CV, we talked about CVs together, right? And I have that recording. You're welcome to review it. It's important as we get near the end of the course and you're preparing your CV. I encourage you to send it to me. I will review it and send it back to you with red ink on it. It's about creating your professional brand. I am a junior or whatever. I am a cybersecurity professional, and these are my skills, and this is what I'm about, and this is what I'm looking for. So you'll work on your CV, and you'll have a CV that's good enough to get you an interview, and we can help you with that, of course. We can help get you interviews. So now, but then I'm not going to go with you to your job interview. You're going to go yourself, and you're going to have to deliver the goods. You're going to have to make the sale, and no one can do that for you. And it's not easy, and it's going to make you nervous. You're going to sweat, okay? So that's just part of it. And for that reason, because a job interview is an intense and a nerve-wracking situation, whenever you have the opportunity to do one, you always should. Even if you think I might not take the job or I'm not ready, but it's good to get practice. The more job interviews that you do, the better you'll become at them, the less nervous you'll be. So job interviews, are a challenge for anybody at any stage of the game, but especially at the beginning. And again, we're sort of outsiders. We're coming into this field from the outside, and so we have to sort of make the case that we have enough skills and understanding and desire to learn that we can be the person they're looking for. Okay, so topics that we're going to address now over the next half hour or so are preparation for the job interview, transportation, you got to get there, listening skills, communicating your message, understanding the person across the table, your body language, what you wear, makeup, jewelry, really important, what not to say, follow-up, and cyber specifics. So those are our topics today. Okay, preparation. This annoys me. Can't see everything. Preparation is everything. As in most things in life, how you prepare is the best indicator of your success in your job interview. If you think, oh, I'll just wing it, I'll get there and I'll figure it out, bad strategy. You got to prepare. Okay, preparing for a job interview, like a lot of things, is about research. You got to get information. Information is power. So learn everything you can about the company. Certainly go through every page of their website, if that's reasonable. Understand what they do, how they make a living, what type of clients do they have. Of course, what is the role that they're interviewing you for. So you want to, if they publish stuff, they're on LinkedIn, you want to look at them there. You want to have as much information as possible. If they say to you, do you understand what we do, which they sometimes do, they'll challenge you and say, well, how much do you know about our business? Or what do you know about? And you say, oh, I don't know. that's almost an automatic fail, okay? Because if I'm the interviewer and I ask you, have you done your homework to research our company and to understand what we're about, and you say no, so what kind of an employee do I think you're going to be? So doing your homework is really important. You never shortchange that. Give it the time that it deserves. Who's going to interview you? You can't always know. You can't always have that information. But anyway, even in the interview itself, I've mentioned before, and this is very important. Is it an HR person? Those are usually women in their 30s or something. The CTO, right, who's a smart technical person, or is it the CEO, the head of the company? And those are three different styles of interviews, right? The HR has some technical questions maybe that she got from the people, but she's more about people, right? The CTO is very much about technology. You should be thinking, I'm going to present him with my project, right? And talk to him about, my technical prowess and this and that. And the CEO is looking at the big picture of the company, and he's focused on money and profits and so forth. And he's probably a technical person if he's the CEO of a cyber company. So it's a combination there of business and technology. That should be the focus of your presentation and what you're talking about. So in your preparation for the meeting, you should come with some questions. Like if they say, do you have any questions? And you say, no questions. Again, I don't know if that's an automatic fail, but it's pretty pathetic. You should definitely have some questions that you want to ask them. So in preparation, make a list of your questions and memorize them, put them in your mind. So when they ask you any questions, you have something intelligent to say. But you definitely want to think, what questions are they going to ask you? Okay. And as I said, you can Google that and see like technical questions. For example, the OSI layers, they're for sure going to ask you about that. Just to make sure you know what you're talking about. You have the general idea of how the internet works and so forth. So what questions are they going to ask you? Make a list and have your answers prepared. What are you going to answer? Write them out, hone them. Record yourself, okay? Really invest in this of watching yourself and how well do you present the things you know? Because again, you're going to be under pressure. And so you probably will not perform as good at that meeting as you might do when you're, relaxed in your home. But the more you practice, and if you watch yourself, so you can improve. It's a skill like anything else. So practice, if it doesn't make perfect, but it improves your performance. They're going to ask you your strengths and weaknesses. What are you going to say about that? Okay, so again, you shouldn't be surprised by a question like that. You should have prepared in advance something intelligent. So again, you could Google good answers to those questions. Okay. This is about transportation because getting there is not half the fun. I know that I get nervous before a meeting, and there could be traffic, whether you're on a bus, you're driving your car, so you don't want to be sweating, and I'm lost, I can't find it. Don't do that. Make a practice trip if necessary. Go there the day before to see where it is, or at least half the way, or put it on your Waze and see how you're going to get there. Invest time in thinking about how you're going to get there, and of course plan to be there early. Being there 15 minutes early is like on time, so make that part of your plan. You're nervous, you need to be at your best. Keep yourself calm and focus on the game. The pre-game should not drain your energy and nerves, right? You want to be there calmly, so don't make yourself crazy getting there. Make sure you take care of that in a low stress way. Okay, this is about listening. Better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. The person interviewing you, especially if it's the CTO or the CEO, they know a lot more than you about cyber. And so let them, take the teaching role and show that you're thirsty to learn more. And so be a good listener. Now, of course, they know what they know, and they're inviting you for an interview to learn what you know and to learn more about you. So you definitely got to talk in an interview. But by asking intelligent questions and engaging in active listening, that's a very important skill always in business and on a business team. And it does a real lot of good in a job interview by showing that you're listening. Like some people, when they're not talking, they're thinking in their mind, what am I going to say next? And so they're not even listening to the other person. And then the other person stops and you're like, what did you say? So that's not good. You really listen to the other person. And then, there's ways that you mirror their behavior. You show that you're listening to them by nodding and certain gestures. And then you repeat, in a certain way of what they said in order to show that you understood it, and so forth. This is called active listening. And it's an important skill in life. And so if you do that, that will help you in your interview. Find out what qualities they're looking for in their new hire. That's part of your preparation, and then during the interview itself, of what kind of person, what kind of professional is the one who will be in this role. Is it a customer-facing role? Are you going to be meeting customers, or is it a very much a back office? You're never going to see a customer. You're just going to be you in the screen all day. So that matters, and that matters sort of how you present yourself and your skills and your strengths. So you want to know what kind of qualities are they looking for in their new hire. Allow the interviewer to guide the conversation in their desired direction and pace. Show you're a good team player, that you can listen and interact effectively with others. The way Yates has this is that you're coming to this meeting to show them that you're the person they want to hire, and that you want to dress and you want to be and speak the way they would want their company to be presented. Because especially if you're going to be interacting with their customers, but even if you're not, sooner or later, everybody's going to be involved with other people. So by behaving in the way that reflects their company's values and their company's expectations of professionalism, you're showing that I understand who you guys are, and that's who I can be. I can be that. I can be someone that will positively reflect the values of your company in interactions both within the company and outside the company. Okay? I'm going to give it's probably not relevant to any of us. Let's say you have a big tattoo, okay? Or you have, I don't know, your nose is pierced or something like this, which is that's your personal style and you're entitled to that. But for this company, that wouldn't be who they want to represent them, because they're more like it's Deloitte. Okay, Deloitte is one of the world's largest accounting firms, and we have people working for Deloitte, and so they're very conservative, right, sort of stuffy. And so if you come there with your big tattoo or your nose ring, so that makes the wrong impression. That doesn't look like a Deloitte person. So I'm giving an extreme example, but my point is you want to dress and be and communicate in the way that they dress and communicate, to show that you're one of them. You can be one of them, and you can effectively reflect their values and their professionalism in interactions with their clients and with all their people. One of the things you can do, and this is important and this is a little bit higher level, is to understand the role and the personality of the interviewer and then tailor your message to that person. Okay, so that takes some skill and understanding of the person across the table in order to create a rapport with them and understand where they're coming from and what's most important to them. And you get that by talking to them and hearing where they're going and what they're saying and what they emphasize, and then find those things within yourself and reflect those back. And that's not dishonest. That's smart. It's savvy. And again, I'm never in favor of lying or misleading, but I am in favor of being the person that they are looking to hire. Okay. Communicating your message. So your CV was an expression of your brand. Your interview should continue to express that message and branding. It's what you say and it's how you say it, right? The language you use. You don't want to, use big words to make yourself sound smart. You want to, be natural. But, I'm speaking to Beis Yaakov people. I don't think you're going to swear or use, foul language. But a person who maybe is more earthy wants to be aware of that when they come to their job interview, they should, use clean and more formal business-like language. Okay, in terms of the message that you are giving over, I have here transferable skills and professional values. Transferable skills, and this is important for people who, again, all of us, probably none of us have worked in the cyber industry before. Some of us have worked in other jobs. And so besides the cyber skills that you have and that you've gained in this course, but there are transferable skills, things that you've done in another context, which transfer and are valuable in a role in any company. So it's about teamwork and communication, whether it's writing reports or fixing things in technology, whatever it is. There's something called transferable skills, and you want to give that over, that you have those skills. Your professional values about hard work and so forth. What are the particular professional values that you have? The basic message is I can do the job. I want to do the job. I can get along with others and contribute to the team. Okay, that's what you're trying to say. I remind you, a job interview is not therapy, and that has happened to me, where you're talking to someone and he starts telling you his story, his sob story, and his problems. And it's like, this is inappropriate, and it does not make me want to hire you. So do not you sort of let your guard down and just start telling your sob story or your personal story or your difficulties in life. That's not what it's about. This is a sales meeting. You are there to make a sale. So think of yourself as a salesperson and be focused on making the sale. You are there to act like the part of the effective hire. Again, think about the kind of person they want to hire and be that person. Communicate that you understand and you can be that person. That's what it is, okay? I recall Avigdor Miller. Somebody asked him something about, should I fake it? Should I pretend to be with my spouse or with my kids or whatever? Should I behave in a way that's not totally natural to me, but it's sort of a higher level? And he's like, absolutely, you should fake your whole life. You should, be a mensch and be a tzaddik and be the best you can be, even if you're not being yourself, but you're being a better person. So act the better person, act the effective hire, act the professional cybersecurity analyst that you want to be. And you're not that yet, but you're going to grow into it. And so show us in this meeting, in this interview, that you understand what you need to be and you can be that person. That's how you get a job. Okay, transferable professional skills. Here I have a list of some of them. Technical stuff, communication skills, critical thinking, multitasking, teamwork skills, creativity, and leadership. And so, you can't just put these words on your CV and say, oh, I have this, that's not so effective because anybody can write these words. But they are meaningful. So if you have a story to tell about it, that, I took a leadership role, let's say in my kids' school, okay? And I got all the parents together and we did something to make the school better for the kids, whatever. Creativity, I came up with this, that, the other thing. Tell a story, give an example and show that you're really effective in this way. And again, these are not the hard skills that you're being hired for. These are transferable professional skills that whatever job, and even if you've never had a job, but these are things that you're good at. These are skills that you have that are relevant, and you want to tell a story that puts over your excellence in these transferable skills. Professional values, okay? Motivation and energy. A motivated professional does a better job at everything they do. Commitment and reliability. And that's also, a lot of our people have that. We have a sense of understanding of achrayus, of responsibility for things. And people appreciate that. In fact, I'll say more. A lot of people in high tech in Israel, a lot of them are not so family oriented. So maybe they're not even married, or maybe whatever, maybe they're married and divorced, whatever. And they're very focused on money and making a lot of money, and they don't mind moving from job to job all the time because someone now is going to pay them more. So they'll get a job and they'll make money there, and then after 6 months or 12 or 18, they'll get themselves on the market again to get a better job and make more money. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is a way But a lot of our students and our graduates are not like that. They want to have a job and they want to keep it for years. Even if they could move forward more, they sometimes prefer to stay in the same place because it's comfortable for them, maybe Haredi environment. For whatever reasons, a lot of people are very focused on their commitment to their employer. And if that's something that does speak to you, so that's an important selling point to tell that to the interviewer. I'm looking to work for this company for the next decade. I'm going to be here 10 years. I'm going to grow and I'm going to become a very valuable professional and I'm going to continue to work for you. As opposed to, I'm coming into the company, I'm going to get trained, and then I'm going to look for a new job, which might be true, but don't say that. Okay. And if you don't have that commitment, so then don't talk about it. But if you are that kind of person that's looking to be there long term and to really be part of this team for an extended period, that's something valuable to employers. So then you should talk about it. Determination, resilience, even when things get tough, pride and integrity, productivity, economy. That's also something. I'm a from housewife and my husband's in Koilel. And so we have, 7 kids and we get by on 3,000 shekels a month, whatever. So that shows that you're not a spendthrift. And okay, it depends, what job position exactly you're interviewing for. But if you are going to have responsibility for any spending of the company, so then that shows that you don't throw money around. You recognize the value of money, and that's very important. So again, that's not something that comes from the world of cyber, and you may have it even from your home life and not from your professional life, but it's a professional value that especially a CEO would like to hear about that, and that would make an impression on them that you understand the value of every shekel. So that's a good thing to talk about. Systems and procedures, that's like, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. I always follow the rules. I can follow the chain of command. If things don't make sense, you work through the system to change them. Again, these are all different professional values. You should think about them and see what speaks to you and what resonates with you, and then try to give that over. That's part of building your whole value as a professional. Okay. Again, I can't see everything. Understanding the person across the table. So use your interpersonal skills to gauge what interests the other party in a conversation. Tailor your message and the communications to the type of person you're speaking to. Is it an HR woman? Is it a CTO geek? Is it a CEO guy who's all about the money? For example, if the interviewer is CTO, don't talk about your ability to impact team spirit. Talk about your cyber project because he's into technology. Okay, we talked about that, and it's sort of obvious, but it's worthwhile investing in. Okay, body language. Nonverbal communications are the majority of our interaction. So on Zoom, it's probably not true because I can't see you, and you could just see a little bit of me. But your body in a meeting will be telling a story. So make sure it's the story that you want to tell. And again, your body is for sure going to tell a story of nerves. One of the books I saw, a guy folds his legs one over the other, and he doesn't want to move them in the meeting because he's like, oh, they'll think I'm too restless if I keep moving my legs. So by the end of the meeting, his legs have been folded so long, he stands up and he falls because he doesn't have any circulation in his legs. So he's an idiot and he doesn't get the job. But the point is, you want to, your body's going to be presenting a message. So you want it to be a message of self-confidence, of you're present in this place. So again, put yourself on Zoom and look at yourself and see, and then control yourself during the meeting. Don't be picking at things or playing with papers or pens. Behave in the most professional way. So practice. Watch yourself and watch others. And again, act like the person you want to be. I put again this note because we do have a bunch of Haredi women in the course, and we have some very successful Haredi women, and some of them, they're like quiet women. They have a bunch of kids, but because of that, and they need to earn money, so they're coming as fighteriot. Okay, they're fighters. And when a man, a CEO meets a woman like that, she's a Haredi woman, she's 40 or whatever, and she has 7 kids, But if she's there, she's playing to win, she's not fooling around, she's coming to fight and to succeed and to get things done. There's a seriousness about her and sort of an intensity, no nonsense. So that's a good message, sort of mental toughness. And so I'm just pointing out that, you don't have to be macho, okay? You don't have to be a macho guy. You could be, a Haredi woman in your shaitel, but if you show that you have the mental toughness to do this, so then that's a good way to get hired. And we have a bunch of women like that. I had a woman, she, Shnei Kisuim, she's really Hasidic Rebbetzin, but she needed the money. She took the course and totally put herself into it, and she's working in the field and doing well because she's become a very tough person, and so she's a fighter and she's doing really well. Okay. So this one is, okay, attire, makeup, and jewelry. Okay, so I don't wear jewelry or makeup, Baruch Hashem, but I have a great story about this. Of course, the name of the game is professionalism. It's okay, of course, to wear jewelry and also to wear some makeup, but not too much. Either one, it shouldn't distract. You should look chashuv, right? A Beis Yaakov woman is about chshivas. She looks like a bas melech. She's, a princess, a hardworking princess. And that's what you want. Your clothes, your hair, your makeup, and jewelry, again, they'll be telling a story. So make sure it's a story you want to tell. So we had this young woman, a Hasidic girl, and she was, tsnu'ah, but she was wearing too much makeup. And so she was going to the job meetings, and my wife told her to her face, "You look like a tchotchke." And so she wasn't getting job offers, even though it was about, I think she was in insurance. And so my wife told her to her face, wear less makeup and less jewelry to the interview. And she went to another one, and sure enough, she got the job. So again, you want to make a really professional impression. And so it should be small earrings or whatever. A little bit of jewelry is okay, and not too much makeup, just something. Again, you want to be the face of the company. When they look at you, they should see, this is how our company looks. That's the message that you're trying to put over. You're not trying to bowl them over with your looks. You're trying to make a professional impression. I'm the kind of person that works in this company. I wrote bar mitzvah boys and new brides. Bar mitzvah boys are like 90% big hat, Haredi boys. And new brides are like 90% big shaitel. And so you don't want to be that. You don't want to come in the meeting and be mostly shaitel or mostly hat or something like that. Sometimes, you have a guy with really long payas, and that's okay. Like, he's a frum guy and has long payas. That does make it harder to make the sale, because that definitely sends a message. Now, Israel is advancing this. You now have people with payalech on the news. You have reporters. But my eitzah would be, if you could put your payas under your kippah or behind your ears or whatever. Again, you want to look the part. You want to look like the professional that they want to represent their company. Show them you can represent the company honorably to the clients, investors, not overdressed or underdressed. What not to say? You definitely could kill the deal by saying stupid things. So don't do that. The job interview, first interview, is not the time to discuss vacation or perks or salary, not until really they've offered you a job. Stay focused on relevant topics. Any extraneous topics are only to strengthen your case or build a connection with the person across the table. I put a website here of dummies, job interviews for dummies cheat sheet, and that's a good resource. Take a look. I will, of course, upload my slides to the Slack. Good questions, bad
Can I ask
answers.
a quick question?
Oh, please.
What if they ask you about perks or salary? Like, I've had interviews where they actually ask you, like, oh, what did you have in mind, or something like that. I'm assuming
Okay.
then it would be appropriate.
Yes, for sure. If they ask you, then you should be honest.
Mhm.
In general, negotiation tip: you never want to say a number. You don't want to be the first one to say a number. You always want them to say the number, and they'll try to get you to say it, but you should try to get them to say it.
Why though? Because then they might see something much lower than you wanted.
But if they say lower, I mean, you can always say higher. But if you say lower, then you left money on the table.
Got it.
So you want to leave it open. And again, we're not going to talk much about the negotiation of salary, but you don't want to make it, I say two, you say one. You want to make it about value. I'm bringing value in XYZ. It's my cyber skills, it's my professional skills, it's my professional values, and so forth. It's my commitment to this company and my sense that I really belong here and I can be a really valuable addition to the team. So you always want to be emphasizing the value that you're bringing, and that justifies, getting paid the salary that you want to get paid. Things never to say in a job interview. I'll do whatever. What do you do? My last company, I didn't get along with my boss. It's on my resume. Why you ask me that? Perfectionism is my biggest weakness, right? That's like, you might say that, but it's overused. It's stupid. I think outside the box. Again, that's really cliche. How much vacation time do I get? Do you have any questions? Nope, no questions. How soon do you promote employees? None of these are good things to say in a job interview. So yeah, again, you wouldn't know that necessarily. So you have to do some research and be past first grade. Okay, I had this a year or two ago. Somebody took our course and he was going through difficult personal stuff in his life. And he asked me if I had told about his personal problems to the CEO that was going to interview him. And I'm like, are you kidding? No one's going to hire you because of your problems. Don't come in and expect mercy. Look at this guy down on his knees begging for mercy. Please hire me. I really need this job. That is not a good strategy. This other guy, he is a warrior. And he's like, I am a conqueror and I could, be really powerful player on your team. That's what the impression you want to make, right? Don't come in there looking for mercy. That is not the way to go. You want to show your toughness, your mental toughness, and how valuable you are. That is the way to go. Follow-up is important and appropriate. So it's at the end of the meeting, you say, when can I follow up on the results? And then truly follow up to demonstrate your interest in the job. It's an email or a phone call. You might, if you're interviewing in a number of different places, you want to keep a spreadsheet. When did I meet with them and when did I follow up, etc. Getting a job is a job. Again, it's actually one of the hardest things. The course, as you all know, is not an easy course, but you're still here. And so that shows something about your fortitude and your perseverance. But getting a job is really hard. And again, we can help you and we have a really good track record, but it's hard. And it can be sort of depressing and lonely. But we had a guy in England, which is particularly hard. And there's, some English anti-Semitism. And this is a guy like Hasidischer. I think he said he went, I don't know, he applied for hundreds of jobs, a real lot. Today he has a job and he's doing good there. We have another woman, I hope she'll speak to you next week or the week after. Her name is Yael Ball, and she's in Antwerpen. And she said, I tried to apply for one job a day, which she said, that's actually a lot to apply for a job a day. And she applied for a lot of jobs. Yes, he did speak to you, Smalti, you're right. So my point is getting a job is a job, and you have to work on it and set aside time every day to prepare your CV for each one, prepare for interviews and so forth. So again, it's hard. I can't change that. By learning these things, you can improve your odds and make it more likely that you will succeed. It's not easy. It takes a lot of toughness. But again, we can help you a lot. We have a number of companies that like to hire our people, and we can. But I must tell you, I'll be honest with you. We had some women who took our course, and I'll say just in one word, they were sort of spoiled. And so after they had a job interview with the CEO, he's like, why did you send me her? Or don't send me people like that anymore. So that, not only did she not get the job, but she made us look bad because she had a bad attitude of like, oh, I'm entitled to this and so on and so forth. Don't bring a bad attitude to the job interview. You're coming there and you're starting from the bottom. So you should come with an attitude. I'm coming here to work and to grow and to learn and to give my best and to, improve as a professional to bring you more and more value. So you got to have a good attitude. It's not easy. Okay. In the world of cyber, skills are king. Cyber specific. Be prepared to talk about, demonstrate your skills. There may be a part of the job interview where they ask you to put your fingers on the keyboard and do stuff. Okay, so whether they do or don't, but skills are really important. You're going to talk about your cyber skills. Certifications. Certifications are really important. In fact, I'm going to say the following. The CV that you send me should really have, if it doesn't have to have the heading certifications, but it should have in it certification. And even if you don't have a certification yet, you should put the certification that you plan on getting. And so let's call it CompTIA Security Plus. And then you should put expected March 2024, whatever. But that shows the employer that, okay, you don't have it yet, but you're working on it. And then in the interview, they might ask you, where you're holding, what are you studying, etc. My point is, again, the cyber world is about skills. And so one of the ways they can measure your skills, one way is to, put your fingers on the keyboard, but another way is the certifications you have or that you're trying to get. Another is the projects that you've done. I know that Aaron gave you the instructions for your final project. That's a very valuable asset in your professional portfolio, your final project. So you want to invest in that. And let's say you'll maybe upload it to GitHub or whatever. And so that's something you can talk about in a job interview. And that's good, again, because it's about the topic and it shows that you're interested in the topic. And the CTO or whoever's interviewing says, oh, okay, that's something that I'm also interested in. And how did you do this? And how would you do that? That's a great thing to do in your job interview, is to talk about technical aspects of your project, because that's so real. It shows that you really care about this stuff and you're really fascinated by it. So that's, I know that Aaron has put you guys through a real lot of Try Hack Me rooms talking about Try Hack Me and the different stuff there. That's a great thing to talk about, and which ones you liked or how you did it, etc. Those are great topics in a job interview. And it may well happen they ask you something and you don't know the answer, but that's not the end of the world. Anything you don't know is a learning experience. Go home and learn it and tell them, oh, I don't know much about that, but I'm interested in learning more. Make it clear that you're a learning person, you're a love of learning, because remember, nobody was born knowing everything in cyber, and working in cyber is a constant learning. Everybody in the field is constantly learning, getting new certifications. People who have been working in it for a decade are still getting more and new certifications, because again, technology is advancing. And let's say AI now is a really big thing. So AI in hacking and AI in defending is a really hot topic. So that's something, again, to talk about or to whatever. So anything you don't know, and nobody knows everything, but anything you don't know, show that you're interested and you want to learn more about it, because the desire to learn is a really key and valuable aspect of a successful employee in this industry. So if you've learned anything in this course, it's that you Google things to learn about them. So cybersecurity job interview questions, I put search in YouTube here. There's half a dozen of them at least, about different guys who tell you what kind of questions they're going to ask you. You should definitely give that some time to watch those things and think about the answers you'll give to those questions. Again, they're in those YouTubes. Okay, that is my presentation. I hope it was helpful to you. I'm here to take any questions if you'd like, and I'm always here. Just to give you an example that we really care about people and you guys, and you are our community. So I had a student who completed the course, I'm not sure if it's about a year ago, and he actually completed with honors. He was one of the top guys in his class, and he was a social worker, okay? And he wanted to do better for himself financially, and he thought cyber was a way. So he really took the course seriously. He worked really hard. They made Aliyah over the summer, and they're now in RBS. And now he came back to me. Now he's really ready for a job. And so I'm working with him, and I sent him to Aaron even, and I sent him to other of our graduates who are working in great cyber companies in Israel. My point is that I'm here for you, and I want to help you. I want to help you get a job. And so don't be shy. I mean, We will have meetings with everybody who wants to have a meeting before the end of the course about an employment plan of what you're going to do, where you're going to go. So we will definitely have one-on-one meetings. Myself, my wife, and you will schedule those in the coming weeks. But my point is that even 6 months, a year, or 2 years down the road, maybe you're not ready for a cyber job now, or maybe you have time and you want to get, certification before you apply for a job. It's all good. I'm just saying that there's no statute of limitations on my caring for you. We're doing this. We continue to do this. We have a new class starting in February. If you guys are W23, they're W24. So if you can recommend anybody, there's actually a cash incentive for you to do that. So please share it with any friends or people that you might think might benefit from the course. So I'm just saying, we want to be here for you, but I'm not going to call you every month or send you an email every month. No, have you found a job? Or do you need me? You need to reach out to me, right? Because at the end of the day, I can't get you a job. Only you can get you a job. I can teach you stuff. I can give you some leads and so forth. One of the things we didn't talk about, maybe we'll talk about it briefly on another occasion, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is hugely important as part of your professional profile that you'll put in LinkedIn, and using LinkedIn to find job opportunities. So maybe we'll talk more about that another day. Okay, everybody, thank you for listening. I see Aaron's here. I'll stop my recording.